Once upon a time, there was a monk named Ananda who was traveling through a forest with his fellow monks during the monsoon season. It was customary for the monks to find a new shelter every 2 or 3 days, but during the monsoon season, exceptions were allowed. As they walked through a small village, they all found accommodation for the 2-month season, except for Ananda. He was left wandering the streets in search of a place to stay. Desperate for shelter, he knocked on the door of a small house. To his surprise, the door was answered by a beautiful woman who, for a moment, mistook him for one of her clients. But as soon as she realized her mistake, she apologized and invited him in. She explained that she was a prostitute who lived alone and had no one to share her home with. She kindly offered him a place to stay in her house. Ananda gratefully accepted the offer and settled into his new lodgings. However, the other monks soon discovered Ananda's interaction with the prostitute and were outraged. They accused him of breaking his vows and bringing shame to the monastic order. The matter was brought before their guru for judgment. The guru listened calmly to both sides of the story and advised the angry disciples to wait patiently and see what happens next. As the monsoon season came to an end, the monks in the forest were getting ready to leave their temporary shelters and continue their journey. But there was one monk who had not returned to his fellow disciples, and that was Ananda. Some of the monks whispered that Ananda must have given up his vow of celibacy and fallen prey to worldly pleasures during his stay in the village. They speculated that he might not return at all, bringing shame to their order. But then, one day, Ananda appeared at the edge of the forest, walking towards them with a woman by his side. The woman was a known prostitute in the village, and the other monks were shocked to see her with Ananda. They whispered among themselves, wondering what could have happened. Had Ananda fallen from the path of Buddha? Had he broken his vows? As it turned out, Ananda had taken the opportunity to teach the prostitute about the Buddha's teachings. He had spent hours with her, patiently explaining the Dharma and helping her to understand its meaning. And slowly, but surely, the prostitute had begun to see the world in a new light. As she learned more about the Buddha's teachings, she began to realize that there was a path for her, a path that could lead to liberation from the cycle of suffering. She had felt a glimmer of hope in her heart, a hope that had grown stronger with each passing day. And when the monsoon had ended, she had made a decision. She had decided to renounce her past life and take the path of Buddha. And Ananda had been there to guide her, to help her take her first steps on this new journey. People were stunned. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Ananda, who had been accused of bringing dishonor to the monastic order, had returned with a woman who was once considered an outcast. As the other monks looked on in amazement, the Buddha, their guru, smiled. He knew that this was what his teachings were all about, that they were meant to bring light to those who were lost in darkness, to bring hope to those who had lost their way.